Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicki.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the Sentinel system do?
We could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled 3 who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
If I were to make a wish and I were to say, I want to do some dominating, no tasers. I want to do some dominating with Dawson, but I need help. Ben, who would I get to come on the podcast with us?
Well, you can enlist the help of Jen, Vicki, anybody who's horizontal or just eyes open could probably step in here. I mean, vertical. What did I say?
Yeah. Otherwise known as the glorious ladies of racing.
That's right. There you go.
Glow. No, that's not glow. I got to come up with something. Wrestling sounds like it starts with an R. Why can't glorious ladies of racing and start with a W? It could be we're racing. We're racing.
Racing.
We're racing. Racing's wrestling. Anyway. All right, Ben. There's been some conversations on the internets or the interwebs, depending on what decade you're from. And it's related to what happens when you go on track early in your career. Maybe not your first time ever on track, but it could be if you do some other racing stuff.
Gotcha. I've been there.
Like
that's me.
Autocross or karting or HPDEs or whatever.
Gotcha.
And you start to feel like you know what you're doing, but you really don't. What are some of the issues and what are some of the things you should avoid when you are in the Dunning-Kruger, I think it's the Valley of Despair, but this is the Valley of I got this and you don't. I always refer to it as like it's like the white belt syndrome. Once you get past your white belt, you think you know how to do it and you go picking on somebody and then you find somebody and they know how to do it and you end up on your back.
It's that's funny. Somebody just today posted in like the Facebook group for instructors, like the HPDRE instructor. Somebody was like, "Hey, come up with another name for the intermediate group. Everybody was like, too dangerous to know you're dangerous and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of that,
That's true,
same kind of
though.
thing. Yeah. I know some of the pitfalls that autocrossers are. I don't know that I've really seen this, but it's expected. Is that somebody who's kind of been steeped in autocrossing might come to road course stuff and have too jerky or too fast inputs with their hands, like in autocross. I was just watching an autocross video this afternoon for some reason, and it's amazing just watching people doing autocross cars. You can see those front wheels turning a huge amount here and there. I mean, they really have to pitch and swing those cars around in a short distance, and so. The one worry is that autocross people might come to road course stuff and be just too jerky. You might have to help slow their inputs and movements down. I haven't really seen that, but it's kind of a stereotype that gets played out.
Oh, yes.
This
And
Vicky's going to explode if we don't let her talk.
oh, yeah. And the other thing that autocrossers do when they hop on track is they flat spot the tires. That's a common thing, and that's because that even though that they're going in their autocross is that their inputs for braking are a lot more sudden, and they aren't going so fast. So when they're going down the straightaway, they're applying that same pressure, which for them is slamming, and for us,
it is
you
slamming.
do that, you've done flat spotted your tires.
Well, yeah, and don't you think too that in autocross braking, a lot of that is done to upset the car. So you're braking to slow down, but you're also braking to hike. You're trying to hike the ass end up and swing it around.
Right.
So different purposes for different speeds.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, it's okay, but they're not going at the speeds to where that would affect. They're kind of like in that oh crap moment, and they're because their turn and their braking is really, really short distances.
Yeah, that's
if you think about it.
Yep, very, very true. Everything's really compact and compressed.
Right.
In road course, everything's kind of stretched way out. You got to kind of give yourself time for inputs and give yourself time for things to sink in. I'll tell you one that's true from my lived experience from coming from the world of karting. My couple seasons of karting was a bigger influence on my current driving than autocross ever was. I made myself do a year of autocross just to kind of learn sitting in a car and doing stuff, but I hated it. I was never any good at it. But coming from karting, especially oval track karting, which is what I did, you never did a race where you didn't hit anybody constantly. You're constantly bouncing off each other and hitting each other. And my first time, starting to do HPDEs, I mean, I remember I came within like 5 feet of somebody to make a pass, and they were like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I freaked you out. I didn't mean to be that close to you when I made a pass." I'm like, I'm used to hitting everybody all the time. So the proximity and expectations around contact were definitely brand new to me going to road course stuff. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to be able to go road course racing and be able to hit everybody, but also it was a shock to kind of go from. I mean, you would be if you were the head of the field for lining up to go around a heat race in karting. You didn't have to touch your throttle because everybody's just bumping you along until the green drops. Like that's how much contact there was. It wasn't even like unexpected. Like you expected that if you're on the pole, somebody's just gonna bump your ass around till it's time. So that's a real big two different kind of worlds thing that that happened to me. I mean, luckily I never ran afoul of it or just kind of like hit anybody out of nowhere. But I definitely was more comfortable with close proximity than other developing drivers were.
Miss Jan.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think? Not green newbies, but the starting to get comfortable crowd, but yeah, not yet experienced crowd. What do you think there are some concerns that they should be on the lookout for? They took the easy ones. They didn't leave us anything. You notice that?
Yeah, well, tough shit. Tough shit. I've had a hard week. Tough.
It's tough day with boxes, man.
You know who doesn't like hearing that as an answer?
Yeah,
my 7-year-old.
That's
She is not tough shit. Does not usually settle her down very much.
Well, it's okay. When her brother stop saying it to her, she'll be fine though.
Yeah, maybe I should not say that to my 7-year-old.
What do you think, Miss Jen? You got one?
So what newbies should look out for?
Yeah. Not like first time on track newbies, but once you start to relax a little bit and you start getting a little less intimidated and you start like thinking you got this and you know what's going on, and perhaps that's when you get yourself a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. I have to say, I think people start. I think looking up was a big thing.
Yeah, now you're talking. Like perhaps you should see cars that are in front of you. Hmm?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
So
you
I
could
think
see
you
things.
forget to do that sometimes.
It's true.
Yeah. Yep.
And
All
Eyes
right.
up is a refrain everybody needs to repeat to themselves no matter how long you've been in the
Yes.
track.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard like probably some of the best drivers that we've ever had on this podcast, and even better drivers that other podcasts have had because they're better. um, they always say that, vision's something they work on all the time,
yeah.
even when you're good at it, which your first or second or third time on track, you're not good at it yet, people.
Yeah,
Well,
your
I think
vision
you
is something
tend
you
to
have to
race like
exercise.
what's around you, right in proximity. But
Jen hit mine. You know what it is? You know what mine is?
Target fixation.
When you start getting misty, when you start,
Ooh.
I know what I'm doing. I've got this. I am about to exert my authority. I am going to.
Ooh.
I am going to get slightly more aggressive, and I am going to start battling with these cars because I am God's gift to racing.
Listen, liberal.
Well, following up on that is one of the biggest mistakes, and we've mentioned this before. One of the biggest mistakes you can make on the track when you're starting out is racing people. Don't race people. When you
they should be in cars. Don't race people. They're very slow.
When you focus too much on a car or a person, you don't know who's in that car, especially endurance racing. You don't know who's in that car. You could have been slow the first time around. Next thing they have a really great drive around in the second. But once you keep focusing on passing people, you cease to start driving the track. You take your you're more focused on cars and passing cars than you are actually focused on track, at least in the very early stages. And that can get you in trouble a lot. That just You're not at that point. You're not driving the line. You're more focused on going into turns that are probably too high speed. You're not really paying attention to your apexes. The only thing you're really focused on is passing cars.
That's funny because when I think about it, sort of at the level of driving I do in these sort of series, where usually, especially like a lemons race, I spend most of my time in whatever car I'm in. I'm riding around passing the shit out of everybody.
Right.
But most of the time, I'm in my head. I'm thinking like, I'm trying to drive the truck. Where all those people in my way, all I'm trying to do is drive this track. So I'm not trying to race those cars. I'm just trying to put them behind me so I can get back to driving driving my course that I'm driving. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
But you're way more skilled that you can have that. It's one of the first rookie mistakes that you make.
Well, that's what I'm saying is you're right. You should be focused on driving the course, driving your track, and not getting sucked into traffic. But I'm to the far opposite end of that spectrum. Where I'm like, get these people out of the way of my
That's
track.
right.
I can't barely see the track for all these people. You got to get out of my way.
So we gave one each. Do you have any that we forgot? Let us know. GarageHeroesInTraining@gmail.com.
Or Dawson Hobbit Feet /OnlyFans.send money.
Send money
Ah,
to Garage. That's not the address, Ben. You know what your address is. We do get email to that address, Ben the Hobbit Dawson @gmail.com. It's very fun.
I hope so.
That's right. That's your other way to
Fantastic.
communicate with us. But anyway, thanks everybody.
Thank you.